Followed up next, we got two more comedians. The next one's name is Kevin Bell.
Woo!
Yeah, buddy.
Do you want someone else to hold that? Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks. I bought this shirt so I could make out with a hot British singer. It didn't work. Mic stand this time, which is nice. Okay. I don't ever know how to start these things off. So, how's everyone? One more time for Sven / Steve. Sven was my RA freshman year. There's no joke to go with that. So, okay. How many people, now I'm going to by applause, how many people smoke marijuana now? So many people in Denver, actually don't like this mic. So many people in Denver smoke weed. It's incredibly surprising every time. Have you ever done I like to play this game called Drive Down Broadway and count the medical marijuana dispensaries, which is hard because you sometimes get in accidents. But it's crazy, and the craziest thing about this was it happened while I was studying abroad. They decided, let's build all of these dispensaries, and nobody told me. And so I got back, and like suddenly you could just buy weed everywhere. And it was like, it's almost like an episode of The Twilight Zone, like, you know, the episode where the guy was an astronaut, and they came back, and like all his friends were disappearing, except instead of being in space, I was in Africa, and instead of friends disappearing, it's buying weed on every corner. It's not really that much like an episode of The Twilight Zone, but I feel like it's similar. But I don't smoke weed myself. I've never tried it. And I can't. Part of it is I can't stand the kind of people, you know, the regular users, the stoners. Not because they're bad people, but because they just have the worst sense of interior design. Right? It's just all like shitty tie-dye tapestries hung over basement windows, and I cannot get behind that. I'm sort of more of a mid-century modern guy myself. And you know that idea had to come from someone who was high, right? Like, someone just like in his mom's basement doing bong rips, and like, the paranoia starts setting in, and he's like, shit, bro. Someone can look at these windows and they're gonna see we're smoking weed in here. What are we gonna do about that? And the solution they come up with is the only thing that makes it more obvious that someone's smoking weed in the basement. Someone standing across the street can be like, oh hey, someone's smoking weed in that basement over there. Someone driving by at like 35 miles an hour can be like, hey, someone's smoking weed in that basement. I'm getting my jokes. Oh, okay, so prior to college, I was in high school, like most of you, and I don't know, a lot of you might have got these calls from the Marine Corps recruiters. They would call you, this is Sergeant Slaughter from the Marine Corps. I'd like to talk to you about our career opportunities. And like, I kept getting these calls like once a week, and so I was tired of getting them. I didn't want to tell them I was not interested because I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and you know, I don't know why I didn't tell them I wasn't interested, because I wasn't. But I figured the easiest way to get them to stop calling was to just go into the office and demonstrate the fact that I'm really not Marine Corps material, which involved walking into the office, basically. So I did. One Saturday, because I had nothing fun to do in high school, I went to the Marine Corps recruiter office to talk to them about joining the Marines for kicks, and they clearly thought that I was not Marine Corps material, because I'm not. But they were, you know, they didn't want to turn anyone away because they were desperate for recruits. And so the guy was just grasping at straws, and eventually it came up that I play the saxophone, at which point he informed me about the Marine Corps Band, which, if you don't know about this, is a group of Marines that never sees combat. They just go around the world playing music, which seems appealing, but the funny thing is they still have to go through basic training with all the rest of the Marines. And I've been on the wrong end of band nerds in gym class before, and that does not go well. But more interesting than that is what do you think that the Marine Corps band conductor is like? Because all I can think of is just like the drill instructor from Full Metal Jacket. Like, affectuoso! That means with feeling, soldier! You see tears in my eyes? Bullshit! Play it again! From the top, maggots! Okay, so everyone likes to pretend that they're a good person, right? Like, you're a good person. Do you ever have those moments where you just realize that definitively you're not. You're just an awful, awful person. I had one of these recently. I get stage fright. Not here too, but mainly at the urinals. Man. I can't, like if I'm in a urinal and there's a guy standing next to me, like I can't make it happen. I can't pee, and so I've been trying to find ways to like psych myself out of this. Like, you know, how do I? Because you're in a crowded bar and you're not peeing, and there's like 5 guys behind you. It can be very frustrating. And so, you know, I try things like just, you know, close your eyes, pretend like there's nobody next to you, and like that doesn't work. And, you know, try things like just pretend like you have like a really great dick, and then even if he looks over, he'll feel nothing but respect for you. That doesn't work either. And so, in a moment of desperation, and I really don't know why I'm admitting this, because this is true, in a moment of desperation I thought, okay, Kevin, just pretend that the urinal's a pretty girl, and she wants you to be on her face. And it worked! Like, I don't even consciously have, like, a urine fetish. I'm just a terrible person. It does work, though. Yeah. I think about halfway through the set, yeah. It's about time for me to make a vaguely racist or homophobic comment passed off as being all in the name of comedy. So, I don't know, you hear a lot of comedians say that, like, comedy is hard, which is a lot like saying, I'm not very good at comedy. So how many people I know? Okay, by applause, who watches the History Channel? Okay, more people than I was thinking. Great. So if you've seen the previews for those shows like X-Men or like Ice Road Truckers or like Swamp Explosive Experts, they're like the Dangerous Job shows. And it's like the previews for these shows are always the same. It's like this dramatic voiceover that's like, out here, one mistake, and it's all over. I just once, I want them to profile like a regular job, just like some guy in like a call center, just like working at a desk. The voiceover would be like, out here, you can fuck up 5 or 6 times before people even start noticing. I would watch that show. Never. So, I realized I skipped jokes. Let's go back to that one. So, I was thinking about getting a new car, but then I decided to just get a new car horn. Car horns are like a weird thing, right? It's like they don't have like a parallel structure in anything else that exists. Like, a car horn is basically just like a thing that says, someone within earshot made a mistake! Which is really unspecific. Or alternately, someone within earshot supports a cause that I also support. Okay. That's very annoying. And like you don't have like pedestrians like cutting each other off. Like someone steps out in front of you on the sidewalk and just presses that. That's very bizarre. So I'm going to be moving into new apartments soon. And for me, the hardest part about moving into a new place is deciding, where to put the hand lotion. Because the problem is that no matter where you put it, people are going to think that you're using it to masturbate. And so you have to strike the balance of like the more in the open it is, like the more people are going to see it, the less likely people are going to think you're using it to masturbate, because who's that public about it? Right, and so you have to find like the midpoint of like, you'll hide it somewhere where like someone probably won't see it. Like, if you hide it like under the bed, for example, no one's gonna look under your bed, but if they do, then they're just gonna know you're using it to masturbate. If you you have to be careful, because if you were to unscrew the vent in the wall and hide it in there, it's very unlikely that anyone will find it. But if they do, then not only are they going to know they're using it to masturbate, but they also need to start unscrewing the other vents and looking for pieces of dead hookers. So it's a fine line you have to walk.
Yeah, 4:15. For you?
Yes. So.
Tenders and French fries.
In high school, my senior year, spring break, I had the chance to go to Italy, which was great. And I got to go to Florence, which is famous for being the home of Michelangelo's The David, which is one of the, most well-respected sculptures ever. It's incredible. And so I went on this tour with a bunch of other English-speaking people of the museum. And it's ending the tour, so we get to the end of the tour. The tour guide gives his spiel at the David. Michelangelo was like 20 when he sculpted it. It's this incredible work of art. And then at the end, the tour guide says, does anyone have any questions? And a man who I'd never seen before in my life raises his hand and says, yes, I have a question. Why is the David's penis so small? To which the tour guide responds, well, there are two schools of thought on the subject. The first is that Renaissance times were simply more puritanical than times that we're living in, and so the penis was decreased in size in order to de-emphasize sexuality. The other school of thought is that people simply had smaller penises. And this exchange struck me as interesting for three reasons. The first being that someone would travel halfway around the world to see one of the greatest works of art ever produced, only to look up at it and think, I gotta know more about that dick. Secondly, that this question comes up often enough that there are schools of thought on the subject. People can perhaps get a major in art history with a minor in genital studies. And third, perhaps most interesting of all, is that I never would have thought that it would have been a complete stranger in a foreign country who'd be the one to tell me, albeit indirectly, that I have a small penis. Renaissance-sized, if you will. There is an upside though, which is, now whenever I'm going, on a date with a pretty girl, and she asks me to describe myself in 2 words, I can look at her and with confidence say, Renaissance man. Alright, that's it for me. Thanks, everybody.
Kevin Bell, everybody. Yeah. Making people laugh.